Mali beat Senegal at the finals of the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations in Niger to back home her first continental title for that category. Liverpool, Juventus, Barcelona and FC Bayern all take center stage as the journey to unseat Real Madrid as Europe's best continues with the 16 finals of the Uefa Champions League programmed for this week. And ahead of the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, Yannick Bolasie of the DRC seeks play time in the Belgian top flight. We shall be getting his reaction at the end of his first game with his new employers. Thanks for joining us on Africanews. Football Planet starts right now. Welcome back. Senegal loses third successive finals while Mali succeeds Zambia as champions after post-match penalties. A historic third loss in the finals of the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations for Senegal, giving Mali her first ever continental title as champions. Let's get the details in the following report.
15 minutes into the final, Boubacar Traoré hammered home Haji Drame's delivery to put Mali ahead. Mamoutou King's charges kept the lead till halftime while completely dominating early changes. Traoré's goal was the first time Senegal had conceded in the tournament. Senegal returned from the break with much determination to get back into level terms, with the introductions of Ousseynou Niang and Amadou Ndiaye adding more sharpness in attack. The substitution paid off as the duo combined to produce the equalizer at the 75th hour mark. Ndiaye's third goal was volleyed in with a stylish overhead kick. The two sides cancelled each other in the remaining minutes and extra time to force the match-talked about final into penalty shootouts. Senegal's Dion Lopi, Amadou Ndiaye and Ousseynou Niang all missed from the penalty spot as Mali scored 3 from 12 yards to win the cup.
And now joining me in the studio is a Senegalese journalist who followed the competition from start to finish. It had to be my colleague, Wahani Johnson. Thanks for taking the pains to be with me on today's edition of the program, Wahani. And let me go straight. Senegal defeated Mali during the group phase of the competition, but unfortunately could not repeat the same feat during the finals. What went wrong?
What
didn't work? Let's say that Senegal were unlucky against a Mali team that was well drilled and played very well to ensure this victory. If you look at the trajectory of this competition, they eliminated Nigeria, which was one of the big favorites of this competition, in the semi-final, even though it was the penalty shootout. Likewise, in the final, it was a very complicated game for both teams because it was a revenge for Mali. If you remember, Senegal did beat Mali in the group phase 2-0, so Mali knew what to expect. The Senegal coach had warned his players that it was going to be a very complicated game, and it indeed lived up to that complication. Mali must have taken things right from the start by scoring from the first quarter of an hour through Boubacar Traoré. The Senegalese, who were outplayed in the first half, had to improve their play to equalize in the last quarter of an hour. As a result, in the penalty shootout, the players were practically tired, which probably led to them missing most of their kicks. And if you look at the statistics from the final, it confirms that Senegal were just unlucky because Senegal largely dominated possession with 66% against 34% for Mali. So we can say that it was a beautiful final, but unfortunately for Senegal, and to so much the better for Mali, who won their first Afcon Under-20 Cup. As we mentioned earlier, Zambia defeated Senegal in the last final.
Of course, that brings me to the second question. In 2015, Senegal hosted the competition, lost to Nigeria. 2 years later, 2017, they lost at the finals to Zambia. And now, 2019, Senegal losing again at the finals to Mali. A crop of talented footballers, nothing to show off for.
It will be argued that Senegal's under-20 team is a cursed generation because when you look at 2015 in Dakar, I happened to be in Dakar at the time. I followed the final against Nigeria. It is history that repeated itself from 2015 to 2017. Senegal played really well in the tournament, but failed to lift the cup in the final for lack of belief, which unfortunately was not the case for their Malian opponents. That is what we say that they'll be third time lucky next time. It was history repeating itself. So this generation, hopefully in the future, will find the resources to get up and move forward. But as you said earlier, it is unfortunate for these talented players. When you even look at Sadio Mane's generation in the senior national team, who unfortunately can't express their true talent, that's what we are seeing in this under-20 as well. But the work continues. You have seen that the Senegal national team is making progress. The team has already qualified for the World Cup. The team will qualify for yet another World Cup. There's a National Football Academy that is producing some of the best at this Niger tournament, which is really positive. Senegal won most of the individual awards. 4 players, namely the best player, defender, and the top scorer, all came from Senegal. So this means that for the future, we can still have hope. And then look at the Malian team, which did exceptionally well in the just-ended competition. This reassures me that the future of African football is in good hands.
Thanks, Ohani. It's always a pleasure having you on Football Planet.
Thank you very much, Philemon. It's always a pleasure for me to talk about football, which is my passion.
All right, Senegal left the competition with some individual trophies. Take a look. Now, this is a competition which produced the likes of Stéphane Biya, Seydou Keita, John Mikel Obi, and continues to be a breadbasket for most of the senior national teams on the continent. Let's take some steps back to see some of the previous winners. The next edition of the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations will be played in Mauritania in 2021. Now, Nigeria lost to South Africa for the classification match that was on Saturday, but both teams will join finalists Senegal and Mali to represent Africa at the Under-20 World Cup in Poland later this year. And now on to something else. Mauritania continues to brace up to the AFCON 2019 in Egypt following their first ever qualification to the finals. The nation is organizing a fundraiser in the capital, Nouakchott, to support the national team prepare for that tournament. A gala is set for the 8th of March, and that event will be under the patronage of President Mohamed Ould Abdelaziz. FC Barcelona will want to forget the Roman nightmare of 2018 and sail through to the last 8. But Leo Messi and co will have to go through Olympique de Lyon at the round of 16. Cristiano Ronaldo makes a return to Madrid as Atletico of Madrid hosts Juventus from Turin. Meanwhile, it will be a cracker at Anfield when 5-time winners Bayern Munich come to town. Mouth-watering fixtures right ahead. At 29, DR Congo's international Yannick Bolasie is keen to get some more game time to his season. With the Africa Cup of Nations on the horizon, the former Everton, Crystal Palace and Aston Villa winger has gone in search for game time at RSC Anderlecht Football Club in Belgium and had this to say after his first game.
Style of play is style of play is really good. It's different. It's totally different to, like I said, I've been to all the leagues. It's totally different to the Championship, the Premier League. It's a lot of technical, you know, and good, very good young players, and everyone's comfortable on the ball. And you can see the difference in that kind of aspect of the game, you know, like they're willing to take the ball in tight areas rather than play one touch or two touch, where in England is sometimes it moves the ball quicker, 1-2 touch, in behind, stretch the game. It's a bit different, but you know, once the boys, I think once the team know, once they see a little bit of myself more in training and what I can really do, I think I'll bring something different to what we got. But we got some good players at Anderlecht, that's for sure.
And Yannick, what's your feeling about playing here in Belgium? We know that there is a huge Congolese community in Belgium, and what's your feeling about that?
Well, that's one of the other reasons why I came. You know, obviously I wanted to play minutes, and we got the African Nations Cup qualifiers coming up, so you know, qualifying and then also playing in front of them, you know, it gives me a chance once in a lifetime probably, you know, because I see myself still as a Premier League player. But yeah, I look forward to it.
Yeah, because we know that it will be a little complicated for DRC as they are not in a good position to qualify. So is it a good thing to come here to Anderlecht? Yeah,
definitely. Obviously, if I would probably say that Everton, you're probably on the bench not playing, and then fitness for a big game that's coming up, which is in March, it won't be in a good state. Or if you stay there to the end of the season and then, you know, you qualify, you have to get your rhythm. So no, I think I've made the best decision for my career at this moment of time, and you know, I look forward to helping Anderlecht be up there, and I'm confident. You know, from today, just a little taster, and I enjoyed it. I know we lost, but I know like there's more to come for myself.
And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Football Planet. Get more sports stories on Africanews.com, both in French and English, as well as on our social media outlets. From myself and the crew, it's bye-bye.